You mentioned earlier that you thought President Trump was getting bad advice, not just about this bill, but also maybe about some of his nominees. You ultimately voted for both RFK Jr. for HHS Secretary and Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary, even though your vote was not guaranteed until the end there. Do you regret those votes now that you've seen them in office?
Well, you know, first, I need to set the record straight on Hegseth. I had already informed my conference that I was going to defer to the Senate Armed Services vote. If he got a unanimous vote out of Senate Armed Services, then I was going to defer to them. I was on that committee for several Congresses. But then there was that allegation that came out on that Sunday. It was net new information. I complete my due diligence. And so I interviewed a number of people. I was called over to the White House on the Thursday night asking me to vote for them. I said, I may. The vote's not till tomorrow. I've still got to complete my due diligence. And quite honestly, there were conversations that I had on Friday that made me put this allegation in the same category as the other ones that I'd worked on before he was confirmed. Now,
this had to do with the abusive tactics towards women? Or towards,
that's right. Yeah. But what it came down to is, honestly, there was never an example of an eyewitness corroborated account. And I had to be fair to Pete Hegseth on that issue. Now, with the passing of time, I think it's clear he's out of his depth as a manager of a large, complex organization.
Yeah, what was your reaction to the Signalgate situation?
Well, that's just one. I mean, this whole idea of having a pause in Ukraine defensive arms, right. That's just amateurish. I mean, that's from somebody who doesn't understand large organization dynamics. So, you know, I don't regret the decision I made back then based on the facts as I knew them then. But today I am beginning to wonder if maybe Armed Services was a little bit generous with respect to their assessment of his capabilities as a manager of the world's largest, most complex, and arguably consequential organization.
So you don't regret it, but if you had to do it again today, you probably wouldn't vote yes?
I think based on the information I have today. If all I had was the information on the day of the vote, I'd certainly vote for him again. But now I have the information of him being a manager, and I don't think that his probationary period's been very positive.
What about RFK?